What's up, everyone? This is my lights loadout reveal for worms. This is what I was running during those videos since y'all were curious as to what I had on my body and my character. So this is just a quick rundown like I did in the last video. For those of you that just want to know what the heck I was using at the time that I made the video, this is for you. Feel free to close it as soon as I get to the last item. For the rest of you, I'll ramble for a little bit, talk about what you should do different, and a little bit about, little tactics that I use when I'm in there. So first thing we're going to talk about is the loadout or the skill tree itself. I use this is a personal preference. It is because of my aim point. I am a projectile player in games and I am used to bullet drop. However, when it comes to the bow in this game, I'm just used to less. Okay, that's 100% less bullet drop. So when I'm going for scorpions that are way out there in the field, this is more damage to me overall. Otherwise, go with this guy. It's going to help your bleed last out much longer, give you that much more, a little bit of damage. So go over the items real quick. Again, don't believe in Beast Sword. Don't see a point to it. I will be making a new light setup here, and that will have pretty much refreshing and bow perks on it. And where I can fit it in, I'll put in Angry Earth. The one ability that you want on everything is King Tondo. Okay, you definitely want that on one of your armor pieces. Everybody should have that on one of their armor pieces. That's 12% crit chance as long as you have a bleed rapier on the field. Just do it, right? Powering Breaker, haven't tested it. Sounds good in theory. It works great in dungeons. Situationally, not sure if you actually empower when the worm is doing its stand break phase or when the soldiers have that shield around them, but, I actually got it when I was just rolling for Beast War King Tondo and said, hell yeah. So I got it, not saying you need it, right? You definitely, if you're going to use the kind of skill tree that I use and you're going for a damage pump, you want to have all three bow abilities, all three of them help you do damage. Penetrating rapid shot being the most important by far, right? Empowering explosive arrow plays into, and I'll explain that in a few seconds. Let's go over the bow first. Flame attunement is the big deal. That might as well be purple to me. I don't think Vorpal does anything. You can't headshot the worm. There might be some kind of weird math in there that Vorpal's helping me in cases it's not helping other people. I don't know. Somehow some people are saying I hit harder. I think there's another factor at play, but it's on the table. If you want to dissect it and go play with it, that's all you, right? So it's right there next to Empowering Breaker. That one would be easier to figure out. I'm just a little bit too lazy to go figure that out. But now, as far as the Void Gauntlet goes, you really need Nullifying Oblivion and Chainfire. Chainfire exists so that way when you're shooting the acid spit, if you shoot at the base of the spit as soon as they're coming out, it will have a similar effect to penetrating shot, right? Now, if you're new to lights, you really want to run penetrating shot. Take the edge off a little bit. As soon as those acid balls are going in the air, pin shot them, at least alleviate that much for everybody. Once you get a little more used to it, you know how to kind of clear your side and help other people clear their sides. You don't need it, and you can just straight up pump damage the whole time. I'm a big fan of pumping damage the whole time. Not a big fan of having abilities sitting around and, off cooldown. If something's up, I really want to be using it, right? Now, as far as the bow is concerned, this is the ring that you want to go get from the Kitty and Brimstone. That's just amazing, right? Refreshing, I think, would be better than Bloodletting. And again, refreshing, I think, would be better than Nimble here. Other than that, when you're in there and you're running lights, what you really want to consider is your rotation, especially your initial rotation. If you're trying to do as much damage as humanly possible, I find my best course of action when opening the worm raid, when the worm's coming out of the gate, go ahead and put my Oblivion down, then rapid shot. Reason you want to rapid shot first is if you land all three arrows on the same target, it brings the cooldown from like 15 seconds down to like 4 seconds. Big deal. That is your best damage by far. It's the refreshing torrent of the bow. It's just badass, right? Now, other than that, you want to actually go with explosive arrow before you do rain of arrows. So you explode, get your empower from explosive arrow, right? And then you rain of arrows after, and you empower the crap out of that rain of arrows. That is a lot of damage. It has huge damage over time afterwards. Those two abilities are really quick to get off. They're hip fired, so they're not too hard to get off during the worm phase. Definitely do more damage than, let's say, a penetrating shot, right? So that's the main reason I run it. I'm in there trying to do as much damage as humanly possible, not only to the worm but to the ads themselves. I want to clear those mages as quickly as I can. If you're good at worm raiding and you're with somebody good on your alternate light, let's say if you're running light 1 or 2 and you have a good light 1 or 2 next to you, if you're on 3 or 4 and you have a good 3 or 4 next to you, the second those mages come out, turn to the door with your partner and annihilate your side mage first. Don't even let it get to the playing field. That's hard to do all the time. So just keep the mages on the tip of your brain. Your first priority is hitting that asset out of the sky. That is first and foremost. Your second most priority is being on your light and getting your light done. Your third would be the ads. Get the ads out of there. Kill the scorpions. Don't let them just sit out there shooting at your team. Things of that nature. Let them be down there doing as much damage as they can to the worm, and do as much damage as you can on the back end to the worm as well. But just remember that you're more of a utilitarian role. Your job is to make sure they don't die horribly of acid, that lights are up when you need it, and to just make sure that ads are not in play. When all else is taken care of, including you making sure that your life is saved at all times, that is when it's time to damage the worm. Now that condition happens quite often. You don't have other things to do, right? So you want to be on the worm constantly. You don't want to be looking around for mages and caves. You can look with your eyeballs, but don't be hovering it with your, be on that worm the entire time. Dish out as much damage as you can and keep your rotations going at all times. Now when it comes to the cannon blast, this is mostly there for the stand break phase, right? Big deal during the stand break phase, but also it's just a harder hit than a single fire left click, right? So in any event that you want to left click and you have your cannon blast up and it's not gonna force it on cooldown during the stand break phase, just go ahead and pop it. That's why my initial opening will always be Oblivion on the ground, Rapid Shot, Explosive Arrow, Rain of Arrows. I use my cannon blast. If I have time, I pop a quick cap, right? Then you have Rapid Shot immediately after. Hit that Rapid Shot again, and by that time, every time, it's time for him to spit. That is a huge combo on the opening of the worm. And you kind of keep that combo in mind as you go and you progress through the whole thing. You just kind of keep that rotation going and stay as aggressive as humanly possible. And that's really going to be the real overall secret to running light successfully, is making sure you clear your sector of all of the spit. Making sure mages are on tip of your brain. Nobody likes them down there messing with everybody, right? Scorpions as well. Don't let them sit around hitting your team, and just do as much damage as you possibly can during the whole thing. And other than that, you just get better as time goes on.